I had just moved into my first apartment alone. It was small and nothing special, but it was mine, and I was proud of it. The building was old, with floors that creaked under every step and walls that seemed to carry sound in strange ways. At first I liked it. It felt quiet, almost peaceful, like I finally had space for myself. But even on the first night there was something I could not fully explain. It was not fear yet. It was more like a subtle tension in my chest, like my body noticed something before my mind did. During the day, everything felt normal. Sunlight filled the rooms, the street noise outside made everything feel alive, and I could convince myself that nothing was wrong. But at night, the apartment changed in a way that I could feel before I could explain it. The silence became heavier. It was not just quiet. It felt like the air itself was listening. Every small sound stood out too clearly. The ticking of a clock, the hum of electricity, the faint creak of wood settling. It made it hard to relax. I would sit on the couch and catch myself staring into corners for no reason, waiting for something that had not happened yet. It started slowly. I would notice shadows shifting in the corner of my eye, but when I turned to look, nothing was there. At first I ignored it. Then it happened more often. Sometimes I would be walking through the hallway and feel like someone had just stepped out of sight. The feeling was so strong that I would turn around expecting to see someone behind me. But every time there was nothing. Still, my body reacted as if something was there. My shoulders would tense, my breathing would change, and I would feel that same pressure in my chest growing stronger. I started to notice small changes around the apartment. Objects were not where I left them. My keys would be slightly moved. A chair would be at a different angle. At first I told myself I was just forgetting, but it kept happening, and the more it happened, the less I trusted my own memory. That was the part that started to scare me. Not the objects, but the feeling that I could not rely on myself anymore. I began checking things repeatedly, placing objects carefully, and trying to remember every small detail. One night, I woke up suddenly without knowing why. It was completely dark. The kind of darkness where your eyes do not adjust right away. I felt cold, even though the room had been warm before I fell asleep. My body was already tense before I understood what was wrong. Then I realized something that made my chest tighten instantly. I was not alone. I did not see anything at first. I just felt it. A presence somewhere in the room, not moving, just watching. My heart started beating faster. I tried to listen, but the silence felt too heavy, like it was pressing against my ears. My breathing became shallow as I stared into the darkness, waiting for my eyes to adjust. Slowly, shapes in the room began to form. The outline of furniture, the door, the window. And then I saw it. Near the door, something was standing there. It was tall, not completely solid, but not transparent either. It leaned slightly like it was studying me. I felt a sudden wave of fear that made my entire body freeze. I could not move, my muscles locked completely. My throat felt tight, like I could not speak, even if I wanted to. I just stared at it, hoping it would disappear. My heart was pounding so hard that I could feel it in my ears. After a few seconds, I blinked, and when I opened my eyes again, it was gone. I sat up immediately, gasping for air. My heart was racing so hard it hurt. I turned on the light and checked every corner of the room. Nothing. Everything looked normal again, but my body did not calm down. My hands were shaking and my chest felt tight. I stayed awake the rest of the night, too afraid to close my eyes. After that, the apartment did not feel the same. I started noticing sounds that did not belong. Footsteps in the hallway when I knew I was alone. Very soft at first, almost like someone trying not to be heard. Sometimes they would stop when I focused on them. Other times they continued slowly, like something knew exactly where I was. The whispers started a few days later. At first they were too quiet to understand, just faint sounds at the edge of hearing. I would turn my head trying to catch them, but they would stop. Then they came back again when I looked away. It made my skin crawl and sent a cold sensation down my spine. The worst part was that they started to feel familiar. Not the words, but the tone. Like something was trying to sound human, but did not fully understand how. I started leaving lights on in every room. It helped a little, but not enough. The feeling of being watched never went away. Sometimes I would be sitting on the couch and suddenly feel like something was standing right behind me, close enough that if I reached back I would touch it. I never turned around fast enough. I was too afraid of what I might see. My body would freeze and my breathing would become shallow. Then came the tapping. It happened one night when everything felt unusually still. I was sitting in the living room trying to distract myself. The silence felt different, heavier, like something was waiting. Then I heard it. Tap. I froze instantly. My heart skipped a beat. Tap. My breathing stopped for a moment. Tap 3 times. Slow and controlled. The sound came from the wall. I held my breath and listened carefully, trying to convince myself it was something normal. Then it came again. 3 taps. This time from a different direction. I stood up slowly, my legs unsteady. My body felt cold and heavy at the same time. I tried to tell myself it was just pipes or something in the walls, but I knew it was not. The tapping moved from the wall to the ceiling, then to the floor. Always 3 times. Always slow, always deliberate. I felt something brush against my arm. Very light but impossible to ignore, like fingers. I jumped back immediately, my heart pounding. There was nothing there, but the sensation stayed on my skin like it had left something behind. That night I did not sleep. I stayed awake with all the lights on, listening, and the tapping continued. Sometimes far away, sometimes right next to me. The whispers became clearer. Still hard to understand, but closer, more direct. Sometimes I thought I heard my own voice. That was when the fear changed. Before, it felt like something was in the apartment. Now it felt like something was learning me, watching how I moved, listening to how I spoke, trying to copy me. I stopped talking out loud. I became quiet, careful with every movement. One night, I went into the bathroom and looked into the mirror. At first everything was normal, then something felt wrong. My reflection did not match perfectly. It was small, just a slight delay, but enough for me to notice. My chest tightened instantly and my breathing became uneven. I moved my head slowly. My reflection followed, but just a fraction too late. I stepped closer, my heart racing. Then my reflection smiled. I did not. I stepped back so fast I almost fell. My entire body started shaking and I felt a wave of panic rush through me. I could not look at the mirror anymore. I left the bathroom and sat in the living room with the lights on. My heart was still pounding and my hands would not stop shaking. I felt like something was watching me closer than before, like it had moved with me. I moved out a few days later. I packed quickly and left during the day. I did not go back at night. I thought that would be the end of it, but it was not. In my new place, everything felt normal at first. Quiet, safe. But sometimes late at night, when everything is still, I feel it again. That same pressure in my chest. That same feeling of being watched. And sometimes when I am alone, I hear it. Tap, tap, tap. 3 times. Always 3. If you made it this far, then you probably understand why this story stayed with me for so long. What makes it even more unsettling is that this is not something I created. This story was told to me by a real person, someone who experienced all of this and still does not fully understand what actually happened in that apartment. And this is not the only story like this. Every story on this channel comes from real people, people who went through something they cannot explain. Some of them share their experiences just to get it off their chest. Others are still trying to understand what they saw or heard. And some of them never respond again after telling their story. What you heard in this video is just one of many. There are more stories like this on the channel, each one different, but all of them connected by the same feeling. That something is out there, just beyond what we can explain, waiting to be noticed. If you enjoy real paranormal stories like this, take a moment to check the rest of the channel. You might find something that feels a little too familiar. And if you have experienced something strange yourself, something you cannot explain, you can share it too. Just remember one thing. Sometimes the scariest part is not what you see or hear. It is realizing that it might still be there, even after the story ends.